Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss the Southeast Asia. This is a new section for you, the part of Asia and the major section of Asia. So here we are going to discuss the southeastern section of Asia. I would like to go for the map section here. You can see on this map, you have the map of Southeast Asian section. So here you can find the location of Southeast Asia. We can see the parts of Asia here, Southeast Asia. If you divide this section into groups for a study area, there can be two sections of Southeast Asia. Indochina, and the second is a part of Southeast Asian archipelago. Getting this one? First you try to understand the concept of Southeast Asia as a region. एक प्रदेश के रूप में साउथ ईस्ट एशिया को पहचानने की कोशिश कीजिए. I am telling you, I can classify Asian section into two parts. Whenever you are going to study the section of any of country or a region or any of information, scientific information, you always classify the things, then you can remember it for a long time. For this purpose, I am going to classify the whole of Southeast Asia into two parts. The first is Indo-China. The first section is Indo-China, and the second section is archipelago. Archipelago. So we can say the group of islands in Southeast Asia is the part of archipelago, and the second, the territorial area between India and China, or the geopolitical area between India and China, is named as Indo-China Peninsula. Right? So you have two different geopolitical area of Southeast Asia. One is Indo-China and the second is archipelago, the group of island. Again, now I am telling you there are 10 countries of Southeast Asia. So all the countries of Southeast Asia are the member of ASEAN. So in this way we can remember, you are not audible, sir. Don't use this. Network is a problem. Okay, just try to solve this problem. एक प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है. हेलो सर, यूट्यूब पे now is it audible for you? हो गया. इस सामने वाले कैमरा को सामने कर दीजिए. हाँ, अब जा रहा है. Now it's okay. Can you listen me? Am I audible there? Tell me please. Okay. Now again I want to start the section from the beginning for the discussion area. Just trying to rub this area again. Now we can go for Okay. Now we can go for discussion again. Now sound is audible. Is it okay, student? Are able to listen me? Hello? Do write message, am I audible there? रिस्पॉन्स आ रहा है कि ऑडिबल नहीं है. ये हैंग हो गया है. Now everything is okay. Now बता रहे हैं बच्चे ठीक है. Okay, now we can go for discussion. Okay, students, thank you everyone. Now I want to begin this discussion again for your purpose. I am here to discuss Southeast Asia. Suppose in some days back I have discussed about the section of Asia, and there I told you that the location are there. Suppose a nodal location. So one is north, south, east or west, then it is southeast. So in the southeastern section of Asia, there is Southeast Asia. So today we are going to discuss the detail of this section, Southeast Asian section, and better to classify the region in different parts. So try to see this area. I am just demarcating the area into two parts. So this is the first area of Southeast Asia, and this one is the second area of Southeast Asia. In this sense, I have classified total geopolitical area into two parts. This section is named as Indo-China. Indo-China means the geopolitical area located between China and India is named as Indo-China. And the second is the group of islands in the southeastern Asia is named as Archipelago. Archipelago. So first try to understand these two terms. What is Archipelago and what is Indo-China? इसको समझें कि Indo-China क्या है और Archipelago क्या है. Indo-China is a geopolitical area between India and China. So it is located between India and China, so named as Indo-China. And suppose any of group of island does not have a definite shape, then we can say archipelago. Suppose you have the group of island in Andaman and Nicobar, so you can say it is archipelago. Got that? So Southeast Asian island can be grouped into two parts. The first part is Indo-China group and second part is archipelago group. Right? So right there, the classification of Southeast Asia as island, you write there the name of area, you write there. Broadly, the geopolitical area of Southeast Asia can be classified into two parts. The first is Indo-China Peninsula and the second is archipelago. Second statement you write, the geopolitical area between India and China is Indo-China, and the group of islands in Southeast Asia are named as archipelago. Okay, now come to detail. Now in this area we'll find the number of countries are here. One is, the first is Myanmar, second you have Thailand, then you have Laos, then Vietnam, the last you have here Malaysia and Cambodia. So in this way we will find there are 6 countries are in Indo-China Peninsula as a part of all a country, geopolitical area. Got that? So suppose there are 10 countries in ASEAN, then 6 countries belong to Indo-China Peninsula. So write in your notes wherever you are writing or understanding geographical discussion, be with your atlas and write the detail about the discussion of today's about Southeast Asia. So write the first one, Indochina. In Indochina, there are 6 countries. And these countries are named as Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia. Again, I'm telling you, suppose you are going from India to eastern area, then you will find the series of country from west to east. The first you will find Myanmar, then you will find Thailand, Laos, then Vietnam, and in the southern section you will find 2 countries, and those countries are named as Cambodia and Malaysia. So there are 6 countries in Indochina Peninsula. I think the first motive of this class to give you the detail of countries first. Once you remember the name of countries, then they will have the detail of physical, human, economic aspect. So I think you can remember all the 6 countries in series from west to east. आप इसे पश्चिम से पूर्व की ओर इन सभी देशों को सजा लें तो आपको याद भी हो जाएगा और उन सभी को आप एक synchronize कर पाएंगे. So you have all the 6 countries of Southeast Asia. Now come to this island area, and in geographical term it is named as archipelago. So first you define what is archipelago, then write archipelago's countries. So right there, archipelago is a group of island, does not have a definite shape. A group of island do not have a definite shape. एक ऐसे द्वीप समूह जिसका कोई निश्चित आकार न होता हो उसे हम आर्किपेलागो कहते हैं. So all Southeast Asian countries in island section belongs to archipelago. So now write the name of countries and locate there. Here you will find one dots. This dot is named as Singapore. In the southeastern part of Malaysia, you will find one dot, a very small country, that is Singapore. Then you will find the series of island here is named as Indonesia. Then you have one group of island here, that is Philippines. And finally you have one small country on Borneo Island, that is named as Brunei. So we have 4 countries in Southeast Asia are the part of archipelago of Southeast Asia. Getting this one? So altogether 6 plus 4 collectively known as ASEAN countries. Again friends, I am telling you, the 4 countries of Southeast Asia belong to Indochina and the 4 countries belong to archipelago. You write 4 countries. The first you write Singapore, second Brunei, third Philippines, and fourth Indonesia. So altogether there are 10 countries and those countries are named as ASEAN countries. All countries are the member of ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So we will write full form ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So I hope now you have very good clear image of Southeast Asia. And you can draw the maps. Whenever you learn geography, you try to draw a freehand map and visualize the thing, make an image of that area. In that case, you can remember for a long time. जब कभी हम इस तरह के मानचित्र को देखते हैं तो वो याद नहीं रहता है. आमतौर पे we don't remember the printed thing. Whenever you draw yourself, you feel the area and you can remember for a long time. So I will request all of you to draw the map yourself and locate the area, whether it's a good on a scale or not on a scale, it is not a relevant thing. Got that? So for learning purpose, you draw it and locate in a clear way. So I hope it's okay. Southeast Asian geopolitical area is on your image. I will request you, student, whenever you learn geography, you make an image of that area. I have given the effort to make you the clear image of Indochina and the second area, the part of archipelago. Now I want to move to other area for discussion, the detail of this area. In political map, there is a political map in front of you now. It is the map of Southeast Asian section. You can see here. Here you see the area of Southeast Asia and the part of archipelago. Students, tell me the geopolitical map is visible for you or not? On the screen, can you see the geopolitical map, separate countries there? Here, this area. It's moving, and is there a network issue? Are you finding me? Hello? Are you able to listen me? Oh. गया फिर गया Again, we are here to discuss the section of Southeast Asia, and so far I have discussed about the section of Southeast Asia into different way. Getting this one? Am I visible there? Can you see the detail of contents on your screen, students? It's okay? Okay, now we can voice aa raha hai? Okay, now we can move to discuss the area. We have two different areas. Whenever you get problem of audio or video, you just write the detail of your understanding. Now, students, I am telling you this section, this is Indo-China area, and this is the area of archipelago. I think you are getting this area. Now I am telling you the detail of one particular country or the group of country for a detailed study. See, in your atlas or in your syllabus also, there are three things for your syllabus for every area: physical, human, and economy. So I am going to discuss the physical, human, economy section of all the countries in Southeast Asia. See, the first country you have for discussion is Myanmar. I would like to discuss Myanmar first. So, in Myanmar, suppose this is a map section I am discussing here. Suppose you are here. In India, suppose this is a map of Indian section. You can draw also, this is a northeastern India. So you have Sikkim, Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. Getting this one in the southeastern section, we'll find the geopolitical area of India, Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram in the eastern section of India. So here we'll find one country, that is Myanmar. It is Myanmar. So in the eastern part of India, we have first country of Southeast Asia, that is Myanmar. The old name was Burma. You can say the old name of this country was Burma. And this Burma used to be the part of India till 1936. In some time in objective examination, they ask you the year for the separation of Myanmar from India. In which year Myanmar separated from India? The year was 1936, and after that Burma separated and later on named as Myanmar. So the first information you write from Southeast Asian countries, you write the name of first country, that is Myanmar, and the first information you write that Myanmar separated from India in 1936. After that you write the second information here. These are the four countries here, the border with Myanmar, and these states are, these are the four states here, the boundary with Myanmar, and these are Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. Out of these four states, Arunachal has the longest boundary among the states of India. अगर भारत के राज्यों को देखें तो सबसे बड़ा जो बाउंड्री, इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्री बनाता है, that is Arunachal. So you write this section because several times it has been asked among the northeastern state, which state of India has the longest boundary with Myanmar, right? So you go in bilingual, you can understand in Hindi, English both. Language is not a barrier, and whatever I am telling you is in a very easy language. It's a local language, or you could say English in your village language. So you can understand. Every Indian can understand. It's Indian English. So in this way we can understand the contents of geography. Right. Now come to the discussion area here. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the name of one mountain here. It is here. In this area we'll find one mountain. It is visible for you. This mountain you can give in a red line there, or this line. This mountain is named as Arakan Yoma. You can write here Arakan Yoma. Arakan Yoma. So this one, Arakan Yoma, is a mountain near the eastern side of India, where it's the beginning of Myanmar, or you can see Arakan Yoma mountain is a natural boundary between India and Myanmar. So right there, write this information. Arakan Yoma is a mountain, a natural boundary between India and Myanmar. So it is located between these two countries as a natural boundary between India and Myanmar. Now try to find out the eastern section of that. If you go to the eastern section, you will find one river is coming from north to south, and this is a major river of Myanmar. There is a valley and also the river here. This river is named as Irrawaddy. Irrawaddy river. So one river is tributary there. Irrawaddy is a river in the eastern part of Myanmar. So this river is named as a lifeline of Myanmar. This river is good for economy and good for the development of Myanmar. So near the mouth of this river, there is a city, noted city of Myanmar, is named as Rangoon, and nowadays it is named as Yangon. Got that? So Yangon is a city near the mouth of Myanmar in the southern section, and this river is Irrawaddy. So students, write with your comfort, write in detail the location related to the regional analysis. The first, it is Arakan Yoma. Now in the east of Arakan Yoma, we have Irrawaddy river, and write the detail about this river also. Right, Irrawaddy is the longest river of Myanmar, and this river is also named as the lifeline of Myanmar because it's good for economy and the good for the development in Myanmar. Got that? So you write there, it is good for economy and for development. Near the mouth of this river, Yangon city is located, or you can say near the delta of this river, Yangon city is located. You write there, इस नदी के डेल्टा पर के मुहाने पर यांगून शहर बसा हुआ है. You can see near the mouth of this river, Yangon city is located there. So eastern area is okay. Now one thing here we can mention, one quality thing or one noted thing of this area, there is one small river is coming from a western section. Got that? This river is named as Chindwin river. So sometimes they ask you the tributary of Irrawaddy river on the western side, that is Chindwin river. So we can mention here as a Chindwin river. So Chindwin river is a tributary of Myanmar, a tributary of Irrawaddy river. Got it clearly? Now come to the eastern section of Irrawaddy river. We will find the location of one mountain here. Again there is a parallel mountain. See, in India we find out the parallel range as a Greater Himalaya, Middle Himalaya, Shivalik. Like this, in Myanmar also there are parallel ranges. On the western side we have Arakan Yoma, and the eastern side we have one parallel mountain. It is named as Pegu Yoma. Pegu Yoma. You can see Yoma is a mountain. So Pegu Yoma. Pegu Yoma you can say Pegu Yoma is a parallel range in the eastern part of Myanmar. So if you make an arrangement in Myanmar as the physical features of Myanmar, the first it will come as a Arakan Yoma, then Irrawaddy river, then again there is the mountain named as Pegu Yoma. Got that? So now find out, there is a valley. You can say this is a mountain area, again mountain area, and in valley there is Irrawaddy river. Just try to see this area. In this area, this is the area where we will find good amount of rainfall, the monsoon climate is there, tropical climate is there. So that area is famous for the production of teak wood. Teak wood. Or you can say in Hindi, Sagwan ki lakdi, right? So Myanmar is famous for the production of teak wood in the world, and this country is the largest producer of teak wood or Sagwan across the world. So which area? It is the area of Irrawaddy in Upper Courts area. It is the largest area for the production of teak wood. Okay, so far Arakan Yoma, Irrawaddy river, then Pegu Yoma. Now find out the very valuable area of Myanmar in the northeastern section, this area. So this area has San plateaus. A very famous plateaus of Myanmar in the northeastern section named as the San plateaus. This plateau is famous for the production of wolfram. It is what? Wolfram. You know, wolfram is a very valuable minerals, or it is used for manufacturing tungsten. Tungsten is mainly used for filament for bulb, electric bulb. So this country is the largest producer of wolfram and also tungsten. So the area famous for the production of these minerals is San Plateau of northeastern Myanmar. So now find out the physical features of Myanmar from west to east. Once we start a journey from India and going to the eastern section, you will find Arakan Yoma as the first mountain. Then you will find a valley of Irrawaddy. Then again you will find Pegu Yoma. And then on the northeastern section, you have San Plateaus. Now the last thing here you will find near the border of Myanmar. In the eastern section, there is a beginning of a new country, that is Thailand. So there you will find one river that is named as Salween. So Salween creates a boundary between Myanmar and Thailand. So this is a sequence from west to east. Arakan Yoma, Irrawaddy River, Pegu Yoma, then San Plateaus, and the last thing is that Salween River. Got? So you can remember these things in a clear way, in a proper way, so that if you create a mental map, in a mental map you can remember the total area of Myanmar, geographical area of Myanmar from west to east section. West to east section. So this is the area you can remember for your purpose. Okay, so it was all about of Myanmar I have discussed. Now I would like to move to other country in Southeast Asia. Try to see the location of this country. I have completed this area. This was the first country in the eastern part of India, that is Myanmar. Now I am coming to the other section of Asia, Southeast Asia. This was the map of Myanmar. Now I am coming to discuss the area of this section. Because this is the large country, I would like to discuss first, then go to the other areas. Got that? So this country is Indonesia. I would like to discuss second large country here, that is Indonesia. You can see the area of Indonesia. And again, for your understanding purpose, try to classify Indonesia in two parts. This is the first area I would like to go for. This one is the first area I would like to go for. This one is equator or 0 degree. And this area is below 0 degree. So in that sense, we can divide Indonesia into two parts. One on equator and one group of islands below equator. So better to go for a rough hand map so that we can visualize the location of islands. Just try to go for, this one is a group of island here. Suppose this one is Sumatra, this one is Java, this one is Bali, this one is Lombok, and this one is Timor. So as you go from west to east, you will find number of islands, and from west to east, the first will be Sumatra, then Java, Bali, Lombok, and Timor. So it is a southern group. Now go for a northern group of island. Here you will find Borneo. This is a group of island, you can name it as a Borneo, Sulawesi, Maluka, and Irani Java. See, these are not the tough thing. Once you do practice, it will be very easy for you. There are only 9 islands there. Just focus one time, you can remember 9 islands very easily. Although there are 13,000 islands there, we have to remember these 9 for examination purpose. So I am telling you, a line I am drawing here as this line is equator. So the islands of Indonesia on equator, we can say Sumatra, Borneo, Sulawesi, Maluka and Irani Java. If you go from west to east, you will find the group of islands, Sumatra, Borneo, then you have Sulawesi, Maluka and Irani Java are located on equator. And in the south of equator, you will find these islands. These are Java, Bali, Lombok and Timor. So now you have a very clear idea about the group of islands of Indonesia, and we can group it into two parts, northern part and southern part. Southern part is not a part of equator and northern part is a part of equator. So see, several times it has been asked which of the following island is not a part of equatorial Indonesia. So Java normally is not a part of equatorial Indonesia. So I think it's okay for you. You can understand the area, the location of Indonesian island. Now I am coming to discuss the other physical area of Indonesia. So Indonesia generally is okay. You can remember the group of island. Now come to discuss the other area of Indonesia here. Now we will find this area here between Sumatra and Java here. You can see in your map there, between Sumatra and Java, there is strait, or you can say Sunda Strait. Sunda Strait. So Sunda Strait is located between Java and Sumatra. It is a strait connecting the two areas of inside North area and South India area. And here we will find one famous volcano. This volcano is named as Krakatoa. The name of volcano there is Krakatoa. So Krakatoa is a volcano, active volcano of Indonesia, located on Sunda Strait. So got it clearly? It is located on Sunda Strait. So Indonesian area is okay there. Now we will find the major GK related thing in Indonesia. Normally these are asked for as old GK purpose, or you can say a fixed GK purpose. Here you have Sulawesi and Maluka. These are named as a spice island of Indonesia. Indonesia is a major producer of spices as it is a equatorial country. So Maluka and Sulawesi are considered as spice island. मसालों का द्वीप इसे कहा जाता है. इसे हम मसालों का द्वीप या spice island कहते हैं. Now you see this area Java in Southeast Asia. One country is a major producer of coffee, and that country is Indonesia. The production area is Java Island. So Maluka and Sulawesi for spice production, मसालों को उत्पादन के लिए, and Java Island is famous for the production of coffee. Now come to the again thing, next thing, this area. As this country is located on equator, and this area has a rich soil there with the oceanic effect, so this area is famous for rubber production. Dutch introduced rubber production there, and this country flourished in production of rubber. So Indonesia is the largest producer of rubber in the world, and the major island area or equator. So see, in equatorial crops, we can remember the production of rubber, we can production of coffee, and we can correlate the production with other equatorial crops. Third thing, in Indonesia, there is equatorial climate, and some of the area is a hill area, some of the bushes are there. So this area is also famous for shifting agriculture. अगर हम हिंदी में कहें तो स्थानांतरित कृषि, या इसको कह सकते हैं भारत के लैंग्वेज में झूम कृषि. तो इंडोनेशिया हैज a tradition of झूम agriculture, and it is named as ladang there. Got that? In Indonesian language, झूम agriculture is named as ladang agriculture. So these are the KitKat information, basic GK type of information. You always remember. In some of the examination, your examination, you will find that there are some old GK type of question is asked. Now you find the major tribe of this area practicing ladang agriculture, that is Orang Asli. See, this year also they have given you the name of different tribe across the globe, right? अच्छा, हिंदी, अच्छा, okay, Hindi course is available there. You can contact coaching for this purpose. The number is with you. You can call them for this purpose. So I'm telling you the location. I can go for there for a discussion purpose. So I have given you the KitKat information related to Indonesia. The production of rubber, the production of coffee, the production of shifting agriculture area, ladang is there, and Orang Asli is a tribe there for the production of shifting agriculture crops. Got that? Now see, there is a bifurcation point or division point between Malaysia and Indonesia. In this area we can mark the location here. This is a area of division between Malaysia and Indonesia in the area of Sumatra Island, and this area is named as Malacca Strait. So the strait between Sumatra and Malaysia is named as Malacca Strait. Malacca Strait is there, very common there. And now in the end of that area we'll find one location of country, that is Singapore. Singapore is a very small country there, but you can remember the detail of that country. Detail of Singapore or the area there. So we can go for discussing Singapore there as a name of country there. I am telling you the detail of Singapore and the location of other Southeast Asian country. Suppose this one is an area of Malaysia, and near the point area we'll find one island that is named as Singapore, and between these two there is an strait named as Johor Strait. Johor Strait. So sometimes they ask you the strait between Singapore and Malaysia, that is named as Johor Strait. So I hope you understand Indonesia very well. One more information you can add. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world in terms of number of population, and India is the second largest Muslim population country in the world. So these are the first and second rank in terms of Muslim population. Got that? As a community population. As it is a part of discussion, that's why I name particular community for that. So Johor Strait, you know, then I have used Malacca Strait, Sunda Strait in Southeast Asia. Now there is also a channel there, or trench there. It is also named as here. You will find here Sunda Trench. Near Sunda Strait you will find Sunda Trench, and it is believed that it is the deepest trench in Indian Ocean. Sometimes they give you the matching of trench or ridge. So this area you have the deepest trench in the world, that is named as deepest trench in Indian Ocean, that is named as Sunda Trench. So I think this section is okay. Now you can correlate everything related to Indonesia, I would like to move to other countries there, right? So try to go for next country, and I would like to discuss the area of Malaysia. Malaysia is a very unique country. Just focus the area of territorial area. I would like to give you, first to go to back of this map, this area, better to go. See, one part of Malaysia is here. That is peninsular Malaysia. Now I am coming to discuss one other part of Malaysian territorial area, and one island in Southeast Asia will find, that is Borneo Island. Borneo Island. On Borneo Island you will find there are different countries. In the southern section we will find the part of Indonesia named as Kalimantan. Kalimantan. So Kalimantan is a part of Indonesia in the southern section. If you go to the northern section, you will find there are two other territorial area that is named as Sabah and also named as Sarawak. Sarawak. One area is named as Sabah and the second area is named as Sarawak. And these two areas are the part of Malaysia. So Malaysian territorial area is also lies on Borneo Island, and these are named as Sabah and Sarawak. So if you name the total geographical area of Malaysia, then you have three things together. One is peninsular Malaysia plus Sabah plus Sarawak. All the three territorial area collectively known as Malaysia. And in between on this island, you will find the location of Brunei. Brunei. So on Borneo Island, we can find three countries. Southern part is a part of Indonesia, that is Kalimantan. In northern part, we have Sabah and Sarawak, are the part of Malaysia. And at the center part, we have the part of one small country, that is Brunei. Got it clearly? So right there, I would like to go for the discussion related to Malaysia. You write country Malaysia. Right, Malaysia has three territorial area or geographical area, and these are peninsular Malaysia plus Sabah and Sarawak. Now this area you can remember the information related to Malaysia. Malaysia is also the major producer of rubber. This country is known for the major production of rubber after Indonesia. We have three countries in Southeast Asia for rubber production: Indonesia, Malaysia and Thailand. So Malaysia is also the major producer of rubber. Now see this area, Malaysia has very powerful area in terms of minerals production. Here in Southeast Asia, Malaysia is a major producer of tin. This country is known for tin, and the valley, Kinta Valley is known for the production of tin in Malaysia. See how depth question they asked this year from regional geography. They asked this year in UPPCS the location of Kinta Valley. Why they ask? Because this section of Malaysia is a prominent area. Suppose I given you the location of Sand Plateaus. In the same way, Kinta Valley is very famous area for tin production in Malaysia. So right there, Kinta Valley of Malaysia is famous for tin production, and in Southeast Asia, Malaysia is a major producer of tin. Like you will find that in South America, Bolivia is a major producer of tin. Here, Kinta Valley is one of them. Okay. Now say in Malaysia, there is a area of plantation agriculture. So this area will find one tribe there. One is Semang tribe. Semang party you can see there. And Sakai is a second tribe there. So Semang and Sakai are the two tribes of Malaysia. Like Orang Asli is a tribe of Indonesia, you have Semang and Sakai is a tribe of बताइए क्या पूछ रहे हैं? Anything tell me about inquiries? Anyway, we can go for discussion. I'm telling you. In Malaysia, we have two tribes. One is Semang, second is Sakai. Like in Indonesia, we have a major tribe that is Orang Asli. Okay? So, students, so far I have discussed the area of what I'm telling about the class. I'm not getting the words. Neeraj is telling something about app comment. Okay. So Semang and Sakai are the two tribes of individual. That's a different thing. I'm on platform for GIS World. I can discuss here only the content area here. Right, students? We'll discuss later on. Semang and Sakai are the tribal communities of Semang and Sakai is a tribal community of Malaysia. Got it very clear? So far, I have discussed about the location of Malaysia, the location of Singapore, the location of Indonesia. Now I'm coming to the next part of Southeast Asia as a part of discussion. Say this area, you have the location of Thailand. This area is Thailand and it is after Myanmar. So this area you have, the old name of Thailand was Siam, S-I-A-M. So old name of Thailand was Siam, and this country is also famous for rubber production. In the center, there is a capital of this country, that is Bangkok, and it is located in the center area. And this country is also famous for the rice production. You may have seen in location or general data that India replaced Thailand in export of rice. Earlier, Thailand used to be the first ranker in export of rice. Nowadays, India ranked first in the export of rice. So these two things I have narrated so far. Now it comes the second thing, the next country, that is Laos. In the eastern part you will find the country, which one is the only one landlocked country of Southeast Asia. You always remember this country, Laos, because this is a particular country, does not share any of coastal area. So this country is named as a landlocked country. Suppose they ask you the landlocked country of West Asia, you have three countries. One is Afghanistan, then you have Azerbaijan and Armenia. Here you have a single country in Southeast Asia, is a landlocked country, that is Laos. So Laos is a landlocked country. It is bounded by Vietnam and Thailand from both sides. Now I'm giving the concept related to the development and landlocked condition. Suppose the country has coastal area, then the country is very useful for international port, international seaport, and the country will have economic activities related to trade also. So some of the country, which country has the coastal area, location area, the country is very useful for international trade. Like we have Kerala, okay, India and teaching arts, okay, thank you. So I'm telling you, suppose you have the coastal area, Tamil Nadu, you have a Kerala, you have a Maharashtra. So these countries have a coastal area, these states have a coastal area, and these are the developed states. Go to the state in the northern India, will find some of the states are the landlocked state. So there's a less development in this state if the state is not very close to capital cities or other areas. Second thing, in Southeast Asia we have to choose the poorest country among them. Then the country will be Laos. So Laos is only one landlocked country and it is a poor country in Southeast Asia. We should not use poor, we can say it is developing country of Southeast Asia. So it is the case of Southeastern section. Laos. Now sometimes they ask you the cities, if you see the nature of question in last 4 or 5 years, the location of city they have asked. I am coming to the point. Here is the capital, Vientiane. The capital of Laos is Vientiane, and it is located on Mekong River. Mekong is coming from north to this area. So it is also making the boundary between the countries. Now come to this area, eastern section, we have one country that is named as Vietnam. So Vietnam is the eastern part of Southeast Asia, and here you will find one major city that is named as Hanoi. Hanoi. In the eastern part we have Hanoi, and Hanoi is located on Red River. Sometimes they will give you the name of river and the capital city. It has been asked also. So you have Red River and the capital is Hanoi. You have Mekong River and the capital is Vientiane there. Now we have the second one, you have Thailand here. The capital is Bangkok in the center area, and it is located on Chao Phraya River. So in the same way you have Yangon located on Irrawaddy River. So in this way we can visualize the places, put the name of a river there, and we can remember the place very accurately. So see, one time they asked the location of these countries from east to west. Like this I am telling you, you have the name of cities like Hanoi, Vientiane, Bangkok and Yangon. If you see the question of 2015-14, you will find these cities and they have given the option to locate this country from east to west. So if you see the map, it will be Hanoi, then you have Vientiane, Bangkok, and then it will be Rangoon or Yangon of Myanmar. I think you got the sequence of cities in terms of countries also. Now come to next country I would like to discuss after Vietnam. I would like to discuss the country in the southern section that is named as Cambodia. This is the southern section, you will find Cambodia. The famous country of Southeast Asia has a Buddhist culture, and this country has one community. It is named as Man Kher group. Man Kher. Man Kher. Or you can say Khmer. Not Man Kher, you can remember Khmer. The major ethnic group of Cambodia is Man Kher. Or you can write Khmer. So sometime we can find in some of the information area, like Cambodia is also named as Khmer Rouge Republic. Khmer is a major community, so this a country is named as Khmer Rouge Republic. In the south of this Cambodia, we will find Tan La Sop is a major lake area, major lake here. In this area you will find a major lake there, is named as Tan La So, a freshwater lake of Cambodia. Now here we will find in the end of this area, there is a location of Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City is located in the south of that, and the famous city of eastern part of Southeast Asia. So in this way we can recall and rename name the places related to Cambodia or any of countries. So I am giving you the tips for that. Whenever you go for a study, the particular country, we always remember that we are going to study regionally. And regional study we divide the chapters in different sections: physical, human, economic, and the other sectors. So on each and one point, at least 1 point from every section, if you are able to recall, then you will be able to solve all the questions related to particular country. Suppose you choose one mountain or one physical features, like I have selected one lake there. Then go for one climatic factor, what's the actual climatic condition there. One river of particular area, one travel community of that area, and finally, what's the specialization of that country is. Then there's every chance that you will solve the question related to that country. So at least 5 points from the 5 chapters, if you remember from any of countries, then you feel that you are going to crack prelim section from world areas, right? So basically, go for the detail of each country, at least 5 points. Like I have given you very detail of Myanmar, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia, like this. Now I would like to move to other country in other area of Southeast Asia, and there I would like to analyze the location. This is the area I have discussed, Myanmar. Now coming to the easternmost country of Southeast Asia, here we will find the location of Philippines. See, this is the area of Philippines, and you have different islands of Philippines. Getting this one? We have different islands of Philippines, and here one island is named as Luzon Island, Luzon, that is named as Luzon Island. And in the south you have Mindanao Island. Mindanao Island. So if you separate Philippines in 2 parts, or bifurcate Philippines in 2 parts, the northern section is named as Luzon Island, and the southern section is named as Mindanao Island. Now see, this is a physical or geopolitical aspect. Now I am coming to the physical aspect. Again, whenever I told you that whenever you're going to study the detail of country for GS purpose or prelims purpose, you always remember 5 points from different area, and those should be the vital point in physical, human, economic. See, in this area of Philippines, I am here in the eastern part. You will find there are 2 trenches here. In the eastern part is a margin of plate tectonic area, and where you will find the trench in the eastern part, and it is named as Mariana Trench. Mariana Trench. So in the eastern part of Luzon you will find the deepest trench in the world, more than 11,000 meters. It is named as Mariana Trench. And in the southeastern section you will find one trench. It is named as Mindanao Trench. So these are the trench on the eastern part of Philippines. You can remember for physical features. Got that? So far I have discussed about the section of Philippines, northern section and southern section, Mindanao Island and Luzon Island, Mariana Trench and Mindanao Trench. Now come to the economic sector area, economy of Philippines. Here we will find Philippines is the largest producer of coconut. So this is the major country known for the production of coconut, and this country is also known for Manila hemp. There is a fiber It's mainly used for fiber purpose. So Manila hemp is a major product from there. A third thing in economic area here, on Luzon Island, we'll find the location of Manila. So if you see the island in the northern section, we'll find the location of Manila. And Manila is very famous for rice production. See, World Rice Research Center is located there in Manila. So this center, Manila, is famous for World Rice Research Center. It's the same way we have Cuttack in India. In India, the Rice Research Center is located at Cuttack in Orissa. So you remember both facts. For world, it is Manila, and for India, Cuttack. Okay? So you remember. Now see what I'm telling you for study purpose. You put a map of Philippines in front of you. Remember the 5 vital points related to physical, human, economic, every aspect, the tribal community also, the other areas also. Then we'll have a very good idea about the location analysis of a different part of the world. Now see this area, you have Luzon Island. Now come to the cultural aspect. Sometimes there is a conflict among the people of Philippines, right? In Southeast Asia, this country is named for a Christian population. In Southeast Asia, most of the countries are the Buddhist country or Muslim countries, or so this country is known for Christian population. But the country has a division, northern section and southern section. Luzon Island is known for the majority of Christian population, and Mindanao Island is known for majority of Muslim population. So culturally you should know the location of people also, because in geography we see all aspects of people, physical, economic and human aspect also. So this country is famous for coconut production, Manila hemp production, and the area is known for cyclone also, right? This year they ask you the name of cyclone. So see, the first aspect is the regional aspect I am covering here. I am always telling you students, when you covered a regional aspect of geography, then it's very easy to understand the systematic aspect. It's very easy to understand the principle of geography later on. Once you have very good command over the location, then you can add the principal area there. Suppose now they ask you the location of Mariana Trench. Suppose you are going to learn plate tectonic and you are to find a Mariana Trench, Mindanao Trench. It's very easy to recall. So once you complete the regional study area, it's very easy to discuss the systematic approach or geomorphology, oceanography, climatology in that sense. And we are here to fulfill the requirement of all aspects of geography. So students, now we should move to other areas. So far I have discussed about the countries of northern area, also Borneo Island. So it is all about the discussion of Southeast Asia in most of cases. Now we can go for a demarcation of area. I have told you. See, now try to recall this area. Now it's in front of you. You have the map of Southeast Asia, and we can go for the discussion area and also recall the so far what I have discussed. Myanmar you can do better by understanding the location area. Now you can recall the detail about Myanmar. You can recall the detail of Indonesia, the detail of Philippines, and the basic information related to the Indo-China Peninsula. Now this study also will help you to understand the current affairs also, right? Once we have done the map work, it's very easy to understand current affairs and IR also, international relationship also. So you can say it is a better foundation for whole GS section. Suppose some of the summits, some of the international summits are held in different part of the country. Once you have the location clarity, you can locate all the thing very well. And also remember for a long time. Once you develop interest in map section, it will be easy to remember all the current related issues. Okay students, now I like to leave this area. So far, for regional study, I have completed two things for you. One is West Asian section and one is Southeast Asian section. Now I would like to move to Eastern Asia. That is the area of China. China is a very unique country in terms of understanding of geography. So I would like to go for today. I would like to take separate time for China. Tomorrow I will discuss China. I would like to go for a small country of East Asia, that is Japan. So right there in your heading, East Asia. So go for one particular term, East Asia. East Asia. East Asia means the country in the eastern part of Asia, and we have 5 countries of East Asia. Can you remember all the 5 countries I have given yesterday? The name of 5 East Asian countries. You have the first one, that is Korea, North Korea, South Korea. Then you have Taiwan, then China, and the last country is Japan. Got that? So in East Asian section, we are going to study about the detail of these 5 East Asian countries. So in this today's class, we have some of the time left to discuss. I would like to go for Japan for a detailed study area. So right, I would like to choose Japan for a discussion. So better to go for Japan for a discussion area. Oh. See, the old name of Japan was Nippon. So old name of Japan was Nippon. We are going to analyze the location of Japan in remaining time. Okay. See students, wherever you are with me discussing Southeast Asia, you must focus on it less. You write some of the information so that these minutes, hours will be useful for your academic purpose. Students, I am going to discuss this area of Japan. We have the location of Japanese island. This is a northern island. Then you have a middle island, the long middle island. Then you have 2 different small island in the south. Getting this one? In Japan there are a number of islands. We are going to discuss major 4 islands of Japan. So you should remember the name. One is Hokkaido. This is Hokkaido. This one is named as Honshu. This one is Kyushu. And this one is Shikoku. See, this type of question has been asked several times, and we are to be very careful while analyzing the name of island. Suppose they ask you which one is the largest island of Japan, obviously it is Honshu Island. Suppose they ask you the smallest island of Japan, it will be Shikoku. S for Shikoku. S means small, so S is Shikoku. So out of 4 islands, suppose they give you the simple question, arrange the 4 major islands of Japan from north to south. So it will be Hokkaido, Honshu, Kyushu and Shikoku. So these are the islands are moving from north to south in direction These are the major islands of Japan. So as information you write, in Japan there are 4 major islands: Kyushu, Shikoku, Honshu and Hokkaido. Now see, for Japan, this is a political area. Now coming to physical area. See, Japan has a number of mountain, or the major part of Japan is a mountain area. Because there's a tectonic force, I will discuss later on the formation of Japanese island. You will find that the major part of island is a tectonic area and has a mountain structure. Only the eastern part of Japan is a coastal area or the plain structure. So you can say Japan has only 8% of area for agriculture. The major area belongs to the other topography, maybe mountain or also the volcanoes. Got that? So western part is volcanic area. So in this area we'll find one volcano here. It is named as Fusiyama. Fusiyama. So the volcano in Japan is named as Fusiyama, and in tectonics, or you can say plate tectonic, it's an active area of transform plate, you can say here, and this area has a number of volcanic plus earthquake activities. So this is a physical aspect. Now come to economic aspect of Japan. Economic aspect of Japan is a very unique location Japan has. Now I am trying to discuss the area here. In Japan you will find there are 2 oceanic currents coming from 2 different areas. From the southern section and also from northern section you will find 2 opposite direction current of opposite nature also. One is Kurile current and one is Oyosio current. So this one is Oyosio current, one is Kurile current. So Kuroshiro, Oyosio कहते हैं, not Kurile, you can say Kuroshio and Oyosio current. When these currents are coming closer, create favorable condition for fish production. So Japan is known for fish production in Southeast Asia, and it is due to the mixing of 2 different current, warm current and cold current. So this is the physical region for the production of fish in Japan. There can be other region also. Now see the better thing about the physical location. In this area we will find there is a plain location, so there is a large continental shelf. So you write in other color, you can write continental shelf. So large continental shelf area there. If the depth is not more than 80 feet, then it is just like a pond. So Japan has a large fishing area due to continental shelf area. The first reason is that this area has 2 different current, warm current and cold current. It is natural for the production of plankton. And the second thing, this area has large continental shelf area, good for fishing. Now the third area, the major area. So see one thing, whenever you practice Buddhism, normally we don't use fish as a food. But in Japan, even though they are Buddhist, they accepted marine fish as a part of food. So it become very popular food for Japan, and they are consumer also. Once it is a production, then it will be consumption. Or you can say, once it's a consumption, then there will be production. Both are correlated. So Japan developed fish culture due to 3 things. What are the 3 things? The first is the mixing of 2 different current. The second thing is broad continental shelf area. And the third thing, the culture of people, they accepted fish as a part of food. Got that? So Japan is known for marine fish. A good amount of marine fish this country is producing. So getting this one, Japan has area in the eastern coast known for fish production. So this is the economic aspect of Japan. The first is a geopolitical aspect, second is economic aspect. Now I am coming to discuss the other area, that is industrial area. So this area, Honshu Island, is known for large number of industries. In the eastern part you will find one city is named as Osaka. Osaka is a major city of Japan, and this city is famous for the production of cotton textile. In the eastern part, it is a major part of cotton textile production. Now, why Japan produce cotton textile as a major textile producing countries? So we will find that the climate is conducive there. In the eastern part, the marine climate is there, moisture is there, good for threading, and from the coastal area, this country is able to import cotton. Why Japan or Osaka become popular for cotton production, cotton textile? Because cotton is neither weight losing or nor weight gaining. So whenever it is transported to other area, the weight remains the same. So it become popular goods for other countries to develop, right? So Japan developed, and it is named as Manchester of Japan. Osaka is named as Manchester of Japan. I hope cotton textile is clear for you. Now here we'll find one major city here is Tokyo, Yokohama. You can remember both cities together, Tokyo, Yokohama. It is the largest mega city in the world. See, you have a different mega cities, Mexico City, New York, Los Angeles, and now you have Tokyo, Yokohama. So this country, this city is the largest city in the world. Earlier used to be, Mexico City used to be the number one. Now Tokyo, Yokohama is the largest city. So you always remember as a city of Japan. Now in the eastern part you will find one more city here is Nagoya. Nagoya is very close to eastern coast of Honshu Island, and this city is famous for the production of silk textile. So in the coastal area we will find both textile manufacturing. One is a silk production and second is cotton textile. Nagoya for silk production, and Honshu, Osaka is famous for cotton textile. Now you have the other areas we have. There are number of cities in the eastern part famous for automobile and heavy industries. See, Japan does not have a rich source of minerals, does not have a valuable rich source of metallic minerals or other forms of minerals. But Japan rank among the major industrial city in the world. So one time the Prime Minister of Japan or President of Japan addressed his countries, and he noticed or addressed the people that no resource in Japan is the best resource. Japan does not have a good source of natural resource, but Japan developed human resource, and finally we can count this country among the top developed country in the world, right? So the best resource is human resource. Once it is developed, the country will have the development of other form of resources. So I hope Japan is okay for you. Now students, in today's section, I have covered the whole section of Southeast Asia in length and breadth for your prelims purpose. The focus was the location and the analysis of different economic and human area. And finally for East Asia, I discussed about the location of China, and hope in next session I will begin from I begin from China and other parts of Central Asian countries. Got that? So I hope this session, today's session, may be very useful for you, and you may have enjoyed the study area along with me. Tomorrow I am going to teach Japan, China and other section of Asia. So thank you all of you. Thank you.